no place like the Q. Family, this is your favorite queer radio personality, Anna Deshawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment.
We are going to demonstrate what it means to prioritize our care, to continue to fight for our care in a powerfully brilliant way. And we will be acting in a defiant resistance and in trans power.
No bill, no pen, no paper will erase us or could define us. I represent a generation that is relentless. I represent a generation that is unstoppable. And no one can tell us who we are.
We don't care what them people say. We gon' still protect the youth. We don't care what them people say. We gon' still protect the youth. We gon' still protect the youth.
We will protect the youth. Those were the sounds of the gender liberation movement protesting on the steps of the Supreme Court after the U.S. versus Skrmetti decision. I sourced the sounds from the Gender Liberation Instagram page. Raquel Willis was the first voice, and she led an action where they took HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, in great defiance to this ruling. Then you heard Jay Douglas, who reminded us that young people are fighting too, and led a chant declaring we will protect trans youth. We will talk about this decision and this action more during the show, but let me just say this. I'm grateful, and I know y'all are grateful too, for those who put their bodies on the front lines of this movement. Thank you. And family, let me remind you, we all have our roles to play in this. Our gifts, our calls, all of them, every single one of them are necessary for our liberation. QCrew, what's going on? Thank you for your continued commitment to helping me sustain this podcast. You helped to cover the cost of our editor, Ryan, who is amazing and fantastic, and who I quite literally couldn't do this podcast without. So if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, join the QCrew. A link is in the show notes. And family, do you have a local news story not getting enough amplification? A queer organization other folks should know about? A song coming out that you want people to listen to? Send in a queer news tip. I love hearing them, and please keep them coming, okay? Info on how to submit is in the show notes. Now for the news. What a week, family, truly. This was a tough one for me. I don't know about you. I just know every moment it feels like something else is happening. But for real, this week, something did happen every day of the week. It was tough. First, if you've been following this show for over a year, you know how important the Taylor Casey story is to me and my Chicago family. It's been a year. Family, it's been a year since Taylor disappeared in the Bahamas. June 19th, 2024 was the last time she was seen. Today, there are still no leads, still no answers. They still haven't turned over her phone. Her mother now believes she was murdered because she was trans. It is just so hard to believe Taylor isn't here anymore. She should be celebrating Pride with us. She should be lighting up every room she walks in, teaching yoga classes, and just making the world a more tolerable place because of her light. So I'd like us, this podcast, to take a moment of silence for my comrade, Taylor Casey, because she should be here with us right now. Now, in politics, I'm going to ice cream sandwich this situation because we deserve some good news in the midst of it all, but we also can't ignore the realities. So we'll start with the Supreme Court decision that ruled in favor of banning gender-affirming care for trans youth. A judge rules that the Trump administration cuts to NIH were discriminatory. Okay, so that's the good news today. And the Trump administration notified the Trevor Project that they'd be ending support of the National LGBTQ Youth Suicide Prevention Lifeline. In culture and entertainment, I tell you, family, every week it is our saving grace, okay? Noah's Ark, the movie, has dropped, and I am so excited to bring you a special review from Benjamin Coy and Corey Antonio Rose for the very first time. And let me be very clear, it is full of spoilers, so fast forward if you aren't ready yet, okay? Don't say I didn't warn you. Now, let's get into it. Family. This past week, the Supreme Court handed down one of the most devastating rulings in the history of the LGBTQ plus movement. Truly, this ruling will echo for generations. I just hope I'm here to see it overturned. In a 6-3 decision in United States versus Skrmetti, the Supreme Court upheld Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors. That means puberty blockers and hormone therapy treatments backed by every major medical organization in this country are now not available in Tennessee. And this ruling will absolutely effectively lock in similar bans across at least 27 other states. The conservative majority on the court said that this ban doesn't violate the Constitution because it applies to all minors, regardless of sex or gender identity. So it only needed to meet something called, quote, rational basis review. Not strict scrutiny, not even heightened scrutiny, just the lowest possible bar. But family, here's the thing. We know these laws are targeted. We know the difference between what they say and what they really mean, because the impacts of this decision will reverberate harm. And the court was not designed to harm, or was it? Nothing about this ruling is good or safe or providing safety to the most vulnerable among us. But instead, it is going to cause great harm. Justice Sonia Sotomayor said this in her dissent: Tennessee's law targets transgender minors for differential treatment. That is discrimination, plain and simple. And she didn't stop there. She warned that this ruling would embolden other states to pass similar laws that make it harder for kids to live authentically and to get the health care they desperately need. Now, family, this case also made history. Chase Strangio, the first openly trans attorney to argue before the Supreme Court, stood on those steps and fought for trans kids. After the ruling, he said, "The court has embraced a fiction that allows states to ban health care for transgender people under the guise of neutrality." And let's be clear, this ruling is not neutral. The ruling was on party lines, conservatives on one side, liberals on the other. And let's be clear, this ruling doesn't just green light bans and embolden the most conservative among us. It also erases the reality that trans youth face higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide. It tells young people that their government is okay, turning away from them in their most vulnerable moments. More than 100,000 teens, trans teens, live in states with bans like this. The consequences are real, they're harmful, and they're happening right now as I record this podcast. And on top of all this, Justice Clarence Thomas, in his concurring opinion, had the audacity to quote anti-trans op-eds and cherry-picked media coverage from the New York Times, no less. Not science. He didn't quote medicine. He quoted the New York Times. I think this just illustrates how influential media is in this conversation, in this discussion, because he's been influenced by ideology and not facts. But here's what I want us all to hold on to right now is that we're not powerless. This ruling isn't the end of the road, but rather the start of a new chapter for this movement. One that requires all of us to show up for trans youth, like our lives depend on it, because for them, it does. And when anyone comes for one of us, they're coming for all of us. And that's why I use the word family. Family stands up Family fights back. That is who we need to be in this moment. Our ancestors taught us how to do this and to do it well. And that's exactly what the gender liberation movement did after the decision was handed down. Their public demonstration, which included releasing pink and blue smoke into the air, which formed into a beautiful backdrop to 9 of the demonstrators administering HRT or hormone replacement therapy to themselves in great defiance of this ruling. After that, demonstrators put their bodies on the ground, rolled out long banners in the colors of the trans flag, and chanted. They protested. They refused to move. They refused to back down. 9 of the demonstrators were arrested. And so, family, I asked you this months ago, and I'll ask you again and again, are you ready for the fight? Are you ready? Because the fight is here. For our next story in politics, a federal judge in Boston has ruled that the Trump administration's decision to cancel more than $1 billion in National Institutes of Health, NIH grants, just because they were connected to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives was in fact illegal. And I mean, Judge William Young didn't mince words about this at all. He called it exactly what it is: racial discrimination and discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community. Now, you may not know this, but NIH is the world's top funder of biomedical and behavioral research. They support groundbreaking studies on everything from cancer to Alzheimer's to trans health care to racial health disparities. And when Trump got back in office, his administration went about canceling family, over 2,100 research grants, totaling almost $10 billion. But here's the part that really made me pause and smile a bit, okay? This Reagan-appointed judge, yes, another Reagan-appointed judge, making good trouble for us, okay? He said this from the bench. In 4 decades on the bench, I have never seen a record where racial discrimination was so palpable. Say it again, Judge, okay? He even told the Trump administration's lawyers straight up, you are bearing down on people of color because of their color. The Constitution will not permit that. Come on, let's talk. Real talk. These Reagan-appointed judges have been coming in of late, okay? Just last week, if y'all remember, I reported on another Reagan-appointed judge who ruled that trans inmates deserve to receive their gender-affirming health care. Now, these canceled grants, right, the NIH grants, weren't just paperwork. They were truly life-saving work. That is how public universities, especially the ones not dripping in private money, kept their research departments alive. Without them, schools had to lay off folks, cancel projects, reduce class sizes, and pause work on long-running studies. We're talking about programs, once again, that studied Alzheimer's, tracked chronic illness, and helped future generations of scientists get trained. So with this ruling, Judge Young reinstated the grants for the plaintiffs and hinted he might go further if more evidence supports it. He made it clear this wasn't about budget cuts or accountability. It was about targeting folks. And family, you already know we've seen this movie before. So thank you, Judge Young. Thank you for standing on the right side of history. And for our last political story of the day, to close this ice cream sandwich, okay? The Trump administration has moved to shut down the LGBTQ plus Youth Specialized Service Program on the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And they're doing it in 30 days. So as of right now, July 17th is set to be the last day for this hotline, just like that. This program has helped to save the lives of more than 1.3 million LGBTQ plus young people. Truly, a lifeline. It gave young folks, a safe option when they needed to talk, when they were struggling, when they needed a safe space. And now this administration says it has to go. The Trevor Project, which has been doing this work for years, got the news and shared a press release to inform all of us. They defined this cut as devastating, political, and cruel, especially in a time when we know LGBTQ youth are going through it, especially trans youth. They're already under attack and have been under attack from every single angle. Now, here's the deal. This is not over. Congress can still act to reverse this decision. The Trevor Project is calling on all of us to step up and to push lawmakers to do the right thing. You already know. There's a petition, okay? thetrevorproject.org/act now. I have put a link in the show notes. Click it. You already know. It's quick to complete these petitions, but it makes a big impact. So if you've got some time today, as a matter of fact, family, make some time today and put your name on the roll. And the Trevor Project still has their crisis hotline, okay? It's still open. So if you or someone you know needs support, reach out to them. The Trevor Project counselors are here 24/7. You can call 1-866-488-7386 or text START to 678-678. You can also go to thetrevorproject.org/get-help to chat. Now let's all take a collective deep breath. We're gonna be okay. And when we come back, we're gonna get into culture and entertainment. And that includes the first on this podcast. I love doing things for the first time here. This special duo of Benji and Coy are coming up next, so don't go anywhere. Howard Brown is excited to launch a new monthly outreach initiative at the South Shore Library. That's right, on the south side of Chicago. Starting on June 26th, you can visit the South Shore Library to get a free HIV and STI screening every single month. Blood pressure and diabetes screenings, as well as name change support and linkages to care, are also provided on a rotating schedule. Allow your screening to be a pathway to long-term access to care. We've got to take care of ourselves, family. For more information, visit howardbrown.org.
Mental health parity is the law requiring that your health insurance coverage for mental health or substance use disorders is no more restrictive than coverage for your physical health. Learn more about mental health parity laws at getcoveredillinois.gov.
Hate is rising in Illinois, but you're not alone. Help Stop Hate is a confidential service that gives victims and witnesses the power to speak up. No judgment, just real help. When you report hate, you get support. Report hate to ilstophate.org or call 877-458-HATE, 877-458-4283. Help Illinois Stop Hate. Family, welcome back to the show. Now let's get into culture and entertainment. And this week I've got a special treat for you, and we deserve this duo, okay? You already know our entertainment contributor, Benjamin Coy, who's been coming through with all of the stories, who you love, has joined forces with Corey Antonio Rose. Now let me tell you all about Corey, okay? Corey is a producer, reporter, and host based in Oakland, California. They are a producer for NPR's It's Been a Minute, where their work explores the intersections of public health, policy, and culture. Their work has been featured in NPR, Netflix, Into Magazine, KQED, PBS, and more. So this duo has come together to give us their exclusive review of Noah's Ark, the movie. Because after 20 years, this iconic series is back, telling the stories of Black, gay, and queer men. Now, there are plenty of spoilers in this review. So this is your official alert again. Now, you can't say I didn't tell you, okay? Do not keep listening if you don't want to hear the tea, because Benji and Corey are serving it up today, okay? I am so glad they reached out and wanted to do this duo. I hope they do more of this because both of them are just fantastic. And in this moment, family, where media literacy is at an all-time low, you all need to know your trusted news sources. And let me tell you, Between Benji and Corey, you will stay informed. Do you understand? So without further ado, Benji and Corey, over to you.
The iconic Butch Queen Brigade is back. After almost 20 years together, Noah and Wade are expecting twins. Our favorite Professor Chance and his husband Eddie have entered a new stage in their relationship, and it's really taking its toll on Chance.
Meanwhile, Alex is now the owner and headliner of his own drag bar, Bootin' Nannies. He and his husband Trey are going through growing pains, raising their daughter Olivia. Ricky, the eternal playboy, is navigating a new kind of health scare while doing that same non-commitment tango with his longtime lover, Janito. Now, we're going to spill some tea, so if you don't want it to be spoiled, you can go ahead, honey, and skip till you hear Anna's voice again. But if not, stick around and let's hop into it. Corey, Antonio, honey, what are your overall thoughts of the movie?
You know, I really thought that this was a great expansion of the Noah's Ark universe. It gave us the same things that we love and know from our favorite familiar characters, but also was able to add in just a new flavor, a new cut, a new color, some new characters, surprise guest cameos from some of our favorites. And I'm really excited to see what comes next from Patrick Ian Polk. You know, he's been out there with the rest of Black Hollywood. They got him on P-Valley. I'm glad he is coming home to the LGBTQ.
I certainly agree. I love that. It's really monumental for me because Noah and Wade was the first Black queer relationship that I saw on television. I mean, set a precedent for how me as a Black queer man is going to love other Black queer people. And so to see it, like I said, grow from this series into now this movie has been really beautiful. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. 10 out of 10.
One of the new characters that Patrick introduces into the Noah's Ark universe is Olivia, the daughter of Alex and Trey. She is coming of age. She's a young trans woman, honey. What did you think of the addition of Olivia?
Yeah. I loved the addition of Olivia. I think adding a trans woman character was exactly what we needed to be in this movie. My only qualm with adding Olivia here is, in some ways, it felt like some of her story was being clipped. Like, there's another moment where Olivia talks to Noah about Alex being a drag queen and how Olivia feeling like her being around that is detrimental to her psyche as a trans girl. There were so many moments that we could have delved deeper into the conversation that we didn't.
I didn't mind the size of her role because it laid the groundwork for me for a great spinoff.
There was one thing, though, that we both noticed. You know, we're from Florida. Okay, big Florida girls in the building. There was a moment in which T.S. Madison introduces one of Alex's lip syncs. And it ends up being Next Caller, which is one of T.S.'s bigger collabs with her ex-co-host, Kaya. How did you react?
I almost couldn't believe it. Why did we need this? In a movie that opened with Love is a Contact Sport, which is a deep, deep cut. That's a deep Whitney cut. I didn't see the need for it unless you were trying to say something, especially having it introduced by T.S. Madison. And it still doesn't sit right with me. I was like, we didn't need her here. Maybe Madison has the royalties.
Could have been cozy, you know, but I guess those royalties were a little higher as well.
The end of the film ends with a big question mark. And so I'm wondering, where would you like to see the Noah's Ark universe go from here?
I don't want any more movies until there's a series. And the series has had multiple seasons. I want a continued development of our Fab Four, but I also want new characters.
New blood.
I want new blood. I want new representation. For the first time, I saw 2 Black gay men as dads. We don't have that.
It's a different kind of possibility
model. Yes.
These are the men that showed us how to be in our 20s, and now they're showing us how to be in our 40s.
No, actually.
Well, you know, as soon as we get a new Patrick Ian Polk drop, we'll be right here to break it down. But in the meantime, you can find me on Twitter at Corey A. Rose and my Substack, What's the Tea?
And you can find me everywhere at Benji Coy, BenjiCoy. And for more of my fashion and culture rundowns, you can subscribe to my podcast, the Cocktails and Culture Podcast. But until next time, back to you, Anna.
Y'all are so good. Y'all are so good. Thank you so much. My wife and I watched it this weekend, and we watched it again. And we go watch it a third time, okay? We loved it. We cannot wait to see where the Noah's Ark franchise will go. The new storylines. They've aged so beautifully and fabulously. And so, family, you deserve, okay, to watch Noah's Ark, the movie. And if you've never watched Noah's Ark before, feel free, okay, to start with the web series. Go to Jump in the Broom, watch the COVID, Chronicles, and make your way to the movie. We must support us, okay? We all we got. And for our last story today, family, the Ultimatum is coming back. Were you as entertained with season 1 as I was? The girls never get to be messy on television, but this made it all possible, okay? Now, if you aren't familiar with The Ultimatum, it's just another dating social experiment show we have all come to love, to hate, and yes, we can't stop watching. This one is set up with 6 couples, and one person in the couple has issued an ultimatum to the other. So either you marry me or I'm out. That's the ultimatum. So in 8 weeks, they go on quite the roller coaster ride. The couples split up, literally, and choose a new partner from the group. They then move in with that new partner for 3 weeks in what they call a trial marriage. Now, after 3 weeks of this trial marriage, they move back in with their original partners for another trial marriage. At the end, they decide whether they want to break up or stay together. Chile, the whole thing is set up to be messy, okay, from the start. Now, I took a peek at the couples. One of them's been together for 10 years, while another has been just a year and a half. And after watching the promo videos, I'm rooting for Danya and Megan, and then Haley and Pilar, okay? But we'll see how things play themselves out, because this show is so beautifully messy and unpredictable. The season is set to premiere this week, okay? This week, Wednesday, June 25th. So get ready for some messy lesbian television. And honestly, I truly can't wait. Family, you know it's time for Anna's Got a Word, because Anna's always got a word. And the word for this week is to make time for joy. Now, y'all know this is the Queer News Podcast, so our stories are focused on LGBTQ folks, yes? But I can't sit here and ignore the missile attacks in Iran. I can't ignore the wars that are raging all around us. I can't ignore what my taxpayer dollars are going to fund right now. The harm, all of the innocent people who are dying around the world. We can't ignore that. And in these times where life can feel so heavy, it is incumbent upon us to make time for joy, to smile, to surround yourself by those who love you. And I have the honor of being surrounded by queer folks who are choosing this joy all the time. I'm going to be hanging out with them at the Chicago Sky Game this week for Pride Night. I've been invited to guest MC. I cannot wait. And if you're listening to this on Monday, I've got a giveaway going on sponsored by Class C Entertainment for 2 free tickets. So go to my Instagram page at Anna Deshawn, check out the flyer and comment, okay? Follow the instructions. Let's go. I'm also have the honor of being the MC on the sidetrack float for the Chicago Pride Parade and being able to join us in that joy. That is a great privilege and honor that I get to have. And so, family, as I make time to do this work and to MC and to host and to do what I've been called to do in the world, you make sure you do the same, and you make sure that it is bringing you all the joy you need to get through another day. All right? All right. And so let us close with more voices from the Gender Liberation Action that took place on the steps of the Supreme Court. Let's do that together, okay? Now, till next week, family. Peace.
We are the people.
We are the people.
The mighty, mighty people.
The mighty, mighty people.
Fighting for justice.
Fighting for justice.
And trans liberation.
Trans liberation.
I don't have access to care, but I'm still here because our community has survived and we have fought and we have pulled through tumultuous times and tribulations for years. And so my message to the trans youth that might be here today, that might watch this. Choose tomorrow. Your heartbeat is your protest. They want us dead. And that's why you should live. That's why you should keep breathing. We need you here.
If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna Deshawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall. And brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.